Can I immigrate to Canada if I am undocumented in the United States? I've been asked this question since the beginning of my channel and I've been answering it, but lately it's exploded. The question is very clear, and so is the answer. Can I move to Canada right now in 2025 if I am currently undocumented in the United States? Very simple answer. Yes, you can if you are eligible, and being eligible is not easy. So, in the easiest way, I can answer your question. It's not impossible, but it's not easy. And what I've always told you is that nothing worthwhile is easy. It's going to take time, work, money, and effort. But if you're willing to make that effort, here I'll explain it to you as briefly as possible. I'm Mexican, and I've been living in Canada for over 20 years, and together with a licensed immigration consultant, I own an immigration company, and I see the numbers. And based on those numbers, I can tell you who gets accepted to come to Canada, who are undocumented in the United States, and who doesn't. That is, the information I'm going to give you is the result of the data I've compiled from the people we've successfully brought over through my immigration company. So let's start from the beginning. Canadian immigration law. Canadian law tells us that for a person to enter Canada legally, they must be legally present in the country from which they are applying. It doesn't state you must be in your birth country, nor does it require you to be a resident or citizen of your current country. Applying, it only says you have to be there legally in the country from which you are applying and the country from which you are entering. But this depends on the immigration officer, and he is the one who will decide. And lately, these immigration officers have changed their mindset a lot. The approval rate for people who apply from the United States while being undocumented has increased a lot. And if you have all the requirements, at least in my immigration company, all the applications we've submitted for people who don't have documents in the United States to come to Canada have been accepted so far. For those who will be denied, we tell them they don't have a chance. Well, there's the first one, the law. Now, to be admissible, you need two things. I'm going to oversimplify it so we don't get confused. I'm just going to boil it down to just two requirements. Requirement number one, a valid reason to enter Canada. And requirement number two, you can't be a threat to Canada. Let's explain it. Requirement number one, a valid reason to enter Canada. This could be a family member, which we already know most of you don't have a family member in Canada. It could be a job offer, which is very hard to get because there are a lot of scams, or an acceptance letter from a school in Canada. And this last one, the acceptance letter from a school in Canada, is the one that has helped us the most. It has been the most useful tool so far to attract Spanish-speaking people or undocumented people in the United States who are looking for a better life in Canada, the study pathway. And what's the biggest disadvantage? Well, it costs money. You have to pay for a school in Canadian dollars. The schools they're going to enroll you in are just average. You can't just say everyone wants to study in Canada. Canada isn't known worldwide for the quality of its education or how cool its schools are. No. People enroll in schools because they want to immigrate. You're basically buying residency or the chance to apply for that residency. Well, here's your first requirement. A valid reason to enter Canada. If you have an immediate family member in Canada. The other is a job offer. There are definitely job offers, and they're hiring from the United States. The company won't care if you're undocumented, most of them, as long as you have experience and know how to do the job or fit the profile of the employee they're looking for. Yes, go ahead. We have also brought many people from the United States who are undocumented to Canada to work legally through a job offer. They got that job offer, they know what they can do, they made their resume, and they applied directly to companies in Canada. Of course it's possible, but seriously, I'm not going to lie to you here or sugarcoat the truth. It's very difficult to get a job offer in Canada. Why? Because the unemployment rate in Canada is high right now. And we have a lot of immigrants coming from all over the world who are willing to work for any amount. Therefore, there aren't as many companies looking to attract a worker and do all that paperwork and pay the cost of bringing them over when there are so many people here in Canada they can exploit. I'm telling you this as clearly as possible. So, unless you have good English and enough experience in a field or trade that's in high demand here in Canada, where they can't find people to do it, then yes, they'll hire you. So, think about what you do. Think about what you do for a living. Only you know the experience you have and how good you are at your job. Now think, out of the millions of immigrants who have come to Canada in recent years, can you do it better than them? Do you speak English better than them? Do you benefit a company more than they do? I mean, you're competing against millions of people who still don't speak English well, who don't have a trade like that. You yourself compare yourself to them, measure yourself against them. Most of the immigrants here in Canada are from India, China, Bangladesh, Ethiopia, and so on. So look, for example, I'm an experienced welder, I have my certificate, or I'm an elevator installer, I have my certificate. There you don't have any competition. But if you say, well, I don't speak English, I've worked in cleaning, I've worked as a kitchen helper, then anyone who comes without English and without experience can compete with you. So, why would a company hire you and pay a fee to bring you over when they can hire one of the 500 people already outside their business applying for jobs? Ah, yes, sorry for being so straightforward. These kinds of videos about migrating to Canada have to be done like this, very clear and very direct so as not to confuse anyone. So, to summarize where we are so far, the law requires you to be legal in the country where you apply, but recently this has changed and now depends on the people involved. The officer often lets you in even if you're undocumented in the United States, as long as you meet the requirements. The number one requirement is a valid reason to enter Canada. Among those valid reasons, you have a job offer that's hard to get, or you have an acceptance letter from a Canadian school that's expensive. Choose one of these two. Well, the next one is that you're not a danger to Canada. What does this mean? It means that you don't have a criminal record. In other words, you already entered the country without documentation. Yes, that's a crime under international law. In my opinion, you're not a criminal. Did you commit a crime by entering without documentation? Sure, but you're not a criminal. That's my opinion. Because I firmly believe that human beings have the right to seek a better life. I also firmly believe that these immigration laws have very strict requirements, and it's unfair for those who don't qualify for these programs. So many immigration agents think the same way I do and say, well, this person entered illegally, but they're not a criminal. The key here is to tell the truth. You have to tell the immigration people the truth. If they ask you, did you enter undocumented? Yes. Did you stay after your visa expired? Yes. Here, your best ally is honesty. Do you want a chance as an undocumented person in the United States to enter Canada? I'll give you a friendly piece of advice. From a Spanish-speaking brother, from one Mexican to another, from one Latino to another, from one human being to another. Your best ally here is the truth. The foundation of your application is going to be honesty. The Canadian government highly values honesty. Immigration officers won't judge you for entering undocumented or overstaying your visa. The immigration officer will judge you if you don't tell the truth. The basis of this application and of all the people who have legally entered Canada from the United States while undocumented is this: the truth. And now, if you'll allow me to share my opinion, not just about this application, but about everything in general. People's lives, everything we do, has to be based on honesty, the truth. That's what they need to see. They need to see that you are a good person. If you have convictions for driving under the influence, armed robbery, drug trafficking, domestic violence, all of that, then they definitely won't let you in. They will ask you for something called an FBI clearance or a police record check. This has to come out clean, nothing at all, no incidents. If you have a ticket for speeding, well, if it shows that I parked incorrectly and the tow truck took my car, that's fine, well. But if you have a more serious conviction, it's going to show up there as serious criminality and you won't be able to enter. And you won't be able to enter not because you're undocumented in the United States, but because of that criminal record. Because a lot of people tell us, oh, I applied to enter, but I was rejected because I'm undocumented here. And when we look at their record, it shows arms trafficking, drug dealing. Well, he fought with police officers, got into a fight outside a bar, crashed into a patrol car. You also have to be reasonable there. So here's the message for you. You are undocumented in the United States and you're afraid of the mass deportations that Mr. Trump is carrying out. The first thing I want to express is my empathy and my wish that everything goes very well for you, for your family, for your children. May your dreams come true. It is my wish that no human being has to live in fear of deportation. It is dehumanizing, degrading, and demotivating to the human spirit and human dignity. And I sincerely hope that you can resolve this situation, if not in Canada, then in whatever country it may be. Well, getting back, you are undocumented in the United States and you fear deportation, and you are looking at Canada as your option. Let's start from the beginning. Step number 1. What kind of work do you know how to do? Make your resume in English. Write all your experience, apply for a job opening in Canada, apply for the jobs. It's difficult. Jobs are scarce, but it's not impossible. The best opportunity you have is to look in the same field you're in right now. Apply as a plumber if you're a plumber, or as an electrician if you're an electrician. Second, to increase your chances, get a certification. If you're some kind of helper, look for something called Red Seal, or any type of certification that tells the Canadian government that you are qualified to do that job. Generally in trades, certifications from the United States are accepted by companies, although sometimes the government doesn't accept some of them, but companies do. That is, as the owner of a Canadian business looking for an employee from abroad, if I see their resume and see that they're certified in the United States, I already give preference to that worker. Even if that certification isn't valid for the Canadian government, as a business owner, the Canadian government doesn't matter to me as a business owner. The Canadian government doesn't tell me who's qualified to do the job I need done, but a certification in the United States does. So get certified. Number 2, try to get your English proficiency certificate or improve your English as much as possible. Believe me, it looks really good on resumes. For the applicants we've seen here in Canada, those who include an English proficiency certificate on their resume and a certification in their field, their chances of finding an employer in Canada are much higher. Believe me. I've been monitoring all these applications, talking to immigrants from the United States who apply for jobs here in Canada for about 4 or 5 years now, and I've noticed the big difference these two things make in your chances. Trade certification and proof of English proficiency. Well, once you have them, you can start your job search in Canada. I want to encourage you a lot, but at the same time keep you grounded in reality. The job offers are scarce. The second one is school, the education path. This one hasn't changed in concept. The concept is the same. You as a man, sorry if this sounds sexist, but that's the way it works best. You pay for school for your wife, your spouse, even if she's also undocumented in the United States. Again, don't look at it from the education point of view. See it as if you're buying a ticket to enter Canada. You're buying residency. You have to enroll her in an eligible school, and she gets a student visa, a part-time work permit, and you, the spouse, get an open work permit to work in Canada in any field you want, in any industry you want, without proving English and without having a job offer. This gives you the freedom to expand your job opportunities because you'll take whatever comes your way. Again, it costs money. You have to pay your way in. As an international student, you're going to pay 3 or 4 times more than what a native Canadian pays. If you're willing to make this expense as an investment for the future, you're practically buying your residency. In recent years, they've greatly limited which schools are eligible. It's also no longer just any school or any course. Now they're mostly diploma programs or master's degrees, so if you don't have a university degree, your options are fewer and fewer. Right now, it's only some engineering degrees or careers that are in high demand in Canada. So, this education option works if you come to pursue a master's degree or a diploma program. If you don't have a university degree, your options are much more limited. And that's how it is. If you get your job offer, if you're one of the lucky ones who gets it, and I truly hope you are, you can come and bring your family. If you learn English and meet the requirements, you can get your permanent residency without returning to your home country. The same applies if you pay for school. You get your letter of acceptance as a student, your student visa, your spouse, and the work permit. Once you graduate, you get the post-graduation work permit again. They added more obstacles, more requirements. Now you have to have a job in the industries that they consider to be in high demand. Not just any job gives you the post-graduation work permit like it used to before. Again, it's an uphill battle. Like I told you at the beginning of the video, it's not impossible, but it's not easy. But nothing worthwhile is easy. Once you go through this process, you become a Canadian resident. Afterwards, you get your citizenship, and as a Canadian citizen, you become one of the most privileged people to ever exist on planet Earth. Canada has lost some points. Of course, it's not as impressive or magnificent as it used to be. It has declined in quality in many aspects, but it is still one of the best countries in the world. There's a reason I still live here. Again, I've never told you that Canada is perfect, but I have told you that it's an excellent country. In my opinion, my humble opinion, this is just my opinion, as someone who came to Canada as a teenager and now I'm 40 years old. I mean, I came here when I was 16 or 17 and now I'm 40. Well, Canada for me, for what I like, for what I consider important, is the best in the world. But that's a decision you'll have to make. Even if you don't agree with me that it's the best country in the world, you'll agree that it's among the best in the world, at least in the top 10. Let's see, for Hispanics, the options are the United States, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. In the European Union, you have Sweden, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Germany. So among the top 10, Canada is definitely there. All right, now I'll summarize everything we've already seen again. I can immigrate to Canada legally if I'm undocumented in the United States, yes, but it's not easy. We're talking about 4, 5, 6 years of an uphill struggle, but after that, it's a country that's really worth it. You need 2 requirements. A valid reason to come to Canada. The most common is a job offer or a school. And number 2, you need to not have a criminal record. Whether you pay for a school or you're the lucky one who finds a job offer, you start a difficult process. If it was through a job offer, you're going to renew your work permit, renew your contract, and try to learn as much English as you can so you can get your residency. If it was through the school route, you're going to be really limited on money because schools are expensive. You have to pay tuition every semester. And once you graduate, you'll have to look for a job in a field that Canada accepts. I mean, it's a specific job that you need. If you find it, you get your post-graduation work permit for the same length of time that you went to school, and once you get it, you apply for your permanent residency. It's also possible that new programs will be created, new ones, because Canada is going through a transition. Mr. Justin Trudeau, the most disliked Prime Minister in Canada's history, is on his way out. He's already leaving, and he's been in power for almost 10 years. His most likely successor is this man, Pierre Louvier, and he is going to come in and completely overhaul immigration processes. He is going to appoint a new Minister of Immigration, and this Minister of Immigration will most likely get to work immediately. And they can change, cancel, improve, or create many or all of the existing immigration programs. So we will be paying close attention to see what happens. And to finish, 2 things. Once again, my best wishes to all of you. I know how hard it is to be undocumented in a country. It's a nightmare that keeps you up every night. And number 2, if you have any questions about immigration to Canada, don't hesitate to contact us at CB Canada Immigration, my immigration company, where an accredited advisor will honestly tell you what your options are. If you don't have options, we'll tell you what's missing, and we won't submit your application because we have a 99.9% acceptance rate. For this program to immigrate to Canada through the study pathway, our acceptance rate is 100%. Because if we know someone won't be accepted, we don't submit their application. We're very honest about this. We don't give anyone false hope. So we want to maintain that acceptance rate of almost 100% overall in all programs. So if you don't have an option, we'll tell you. If you have an option, we'll find it. And we'll advise you. Give us a call. CB Canada Immigration. That's my report so far. See you next time.